Enter the Stars. Rainbow's Might by Christ Galster. In the black of darkest night, bringing forth the firelight, smoky haze and burning plight, hidden is unfolding sight, as clear as sky and hill terrain. Dawning sight shows true the main, untold story of how the rain washes clean the earthly stain. Rainbows. Were it not for heaven above, and had not God shown us his love, lost this theme would be, hereof carried away in the beak of a dove. Rainbows. For the storm passes such a fright, the setting sun shines so bright, into darkness casting light, a fragile reminder, a rainbow's might. And thanks to Chris Galster for sending us that beautiful poem called Rainbow's Might. Inspiration is a strange thing. It almost seems as though much inspiration comes from a single place, and it's how we use it that determines the fruit. And in my experience, this is what I've seen. That talent has a central theme, and that it all depends on how we use such talent. Do we use it to glorify the Creator? Or do we use it to glorify the evil one? And each and every one of us is tasked with deciding how we will use our talents. I want to welcome all of you to the show this morning, and I hope you enjoyed that beautiful poem by Chris Galster. And I always appreciate when you guys provide input to the things that we cover on this channel, because you guys are the ones who make this channel, and I've always told you that. Many people don't want to believe that, but it is in fact the truth. I'm going to go ahead and share screens. We've got a bit of a surprise for you guys today. We're going to look at Selena, not Selena Gomez, but the original Selena. And I found some bizarre synchronicities going on with Selena. She's arrived back on the news. We've actually seen that they're going to give her a Hollywood star as well as a perfume line this morning. And there's a reason why all this is happening this morning, okay, or happening within this week and this year with regards to Selena. So we're going to cover some of that. We're also going to look at her numbers compared to JLo and get a beat on what is going on and what possibly could have been the case in terms of how she relates to Selena. I'm going to go ahead and share screens here. Give some shout outs to you guys. Let's see here. Glad you guys could all make it this morning. And let's see here. Let's pull this down here. All right. Hopefully you guys can all see this. Give some shout outs to Sabine is in the house. Fire kindled, Craig's Volk, Tony Marie. Now the goal is to do an open mic at the end of this show. I may or may not do that today based on time. I do have some plans today. We'll see where we get. I see Myra, I see Gabe, Justin in Buffalo, Lucy is in the house, T. Kerr, Gabe Chavez. Thanks you guys for coming out this morning. Holly, Tina, Keith. How much you charge for shout outs, Casey? Says Keith. 0. It's all about the love. All right, you guys, let's pop over here to here. Let's do this. This is the poem by Christ Galster. He sent me yesterday. We're going to open up. Yes, we're going to save this. Save. I'm going to open this. All right. Here are the numbers, you guys. And this is wild. And somebody asked me to look at this, and so I did. And in looking at Selena, the original Tex-Mex pop star that came out in the 80s and 90s, became very popular, took the world by storm. Her life ended abruptly at 23 years old. And in looking at the birthday of Selena, JLo popped in my head. And then I came to realize later that JLo actually played Selena in the movie that came out a couple years after her death. And when I ran the numbers on this, I was just simply stunned, you guys. And before we get into the numbers, though, we're going to talk about this Mac line that's going to come out this year for Selena Quintanilla, but the beloved Mexican-American Tejano singer. And there's a reason why this is happening this year, okay? There's also a reason why this year, actually the beginning of next, she will be receiving her Hollywood Walk of Fame star, okay, which is a big deal. Now, all of this is numerically driven. And the reason why all of this is happening this year and the next is because this is the year that Selena would have been 44 years old. Now, this isn't an accident because her birthday actually fits into the president. Why? Because Obama will be 55 years old this year, and he died in the Hebrew year, or she died in the Hebrew year 1995, which is the Hebrew year 5755. So this is what we call a numeric circle, a complete picture of what's going on. But this gets even more cryptic and bizarre because you can see that Selena was born on the 106th day with 259 left. And when we look at JLo, she was born on the 205th day with 160 left. Now, if you look at these numbers, I want you to look at when Selena was born and died and when JLo was born. And it forms this triad. It's all the same digits repeated. Okay, we have the 106 matching the 160. We have the 205 matching the 259. Here's the 9 here. 9 is 6, and we have 275 remaining. 7 seems to be the only odd number out. Okay, but the pattern here is the 2 and the 5s. That's what we're seeing repeated between these two women. And oddly enough, Selena, when JLo played Selena would have been 25. And Selena was 25 when the movie released, and JLo was 25 when Selena died. Let's put that in here. Got confused myself for a second. JLo was 25 when Selena died. So you can see there's a mirror here, a circular mirror. Now, it seems as though what we've discovered is that reality is kind of run by some kind of mathematical matrix. And when we're born, when we manifest into this reality through birth, and then when we die, there is a definite circle that occurs. And this circle can actually relate to other people in our life, which is pretty strange, and people that we touch. And all of this seems to point back to the event of 9/11, the year that it happened, the Hebrew year that it happened, the date that it happened. All of our lives seem to interlink and interweave within that. And I don't know why that is. That's probably a reason why they picked that day for human sacrifice, right? To do their evil sorcery on maybe what was considered to be a holy day. Now, we see these 69s in the birth and death of Selena and the birth of JLo. See that 69 repeated, but we also understand that JLo was born in 1969. Now again, Selena would have been 44 this year. She died on 3/31, and she just happened to be 31 years old on 9/11. And this is how her life interweaves and intertwines with the 9/11 story. So I wanted to cover that with you guys and show you that there are some strange interviews with JLo, basically giving all the credit of her career and her beginning of the music industry to basically Selena dying. And then her, Jennifer Lopez, starring as Selena in the film 2 years later. She gives the credit to her, the beginning of, to that film. Was this some kind of a sacrifice? I don't know. Is Jennifer Lopez in the know? I don't know. What I do know is that these people sign blood contracts. And many of you have heard of this on channels like Black Child, Yashkara. These people sign blood contracts in order to make it big in Hollywood, like literal contracts. And they may or may not have certain family members sacrificed. And I know this sounds crazy to some of you, but this is the truth. In order to gain fame and notoriety, then they are used as the puppets to control all of us. And that's just the bottom line. They're basically given a format. They're given an identity. They may be even given birthdays. They're given all these things, and they're used to shape our reality, right? Because we all look up to these people. Millions of people love Jennifer Lopez, right? They get more excited about her than they do God, all right? And it's, the stars become the stars on earth instead of the stars in the firmament, right? And this is how it works. And this is our reality, all right? So wanted to share that with you guys. Pop in the chat here. We got 2 scoops. Tina, Skeeto Pump, Icy joined us. Tony Marie, Rusty Clutch, William Jean, Buddha Girl. Thanks you guys for coming out. And I'm going to read through the chat here. Prusaponte, we see here. I just don't want to miss anybody. Yeah, isn't it amazing how all this stuff fits in together? Justin in Buffalo says, I sent you an astronomical paper. I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, JLo played that role, and it's just bizarre how the numbers fit all together. I think Susan, I see Susan H here too. Holly's in the house. The most profound thing to me is that JLo was 25 when Selena died, and Selena was 25 when would have been 25 when the movie released. And then you see the 25s relating to their birthday. You see the 25 in there, and that's wild, you guys. That is wild stuff. All right, let's pop back in here. What we'll probably do is go on for a few minutes here. Maybe invite some of you guys in, and we probably won't be able to stay on long. But we'll just go with it, right? I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the chat here. And let's see here. I'll read into your comments too, you guys, in the chat. See if there's anything you want to cover. I see Levi in the house, Jerry, Holly Beth. There's a link, you guys. So anybody wants to come in, we'll probably go for 15, 20 minutes. And if you guys, it's just going to pretty much be open discussion. You guys want to talk about the headlines? You want to talk about anything that's going on? Pentagram, man. Mr. 2 Scoops wants to look at this pentagram. Let's take a look at it. There's a pentagram in, I think it's in Kazakhstan, and it's on this peninsula. W did some videos on it. I did some videos on the pentagram. There's an alignment of this pentagram. I believe it points to ground zero. Let's take a look at it. Let's see here. Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's morning, Casey.
A lot of videos on Astana, Kazakhstan. If you take the word Astana, which is the capital of Kazakhstan, and you scramble the letters, it spells Satan. And in their country, there is a giant pentagram just right in the landscape. We're going to take a look at that now. Let's turn off the borders labels. A lot of data coming through here. Don't want to crash our stream. Let me check in the stream here and make sure you guys are good. Let's see here. All right. Oh, Two Scoops is in the house. Can you hear me, Two Scoops?
Yes, I can, Casey. How are you?
Uh-oh, got no sound coming from you, Sam.
1 second here. Let me see.
Wonder why I can't hear you. Oh, I might need to reset my
How's
sound
this?
card.
Is that working better?
Sometimes.
It shows I'm talking.
Yeah, it was a crazy video, huh, Shadow? With the what appeared to be the hyaloid artery coming out, arteries coming off of the surface of the earth. Oh, you guys can hear him. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's go here.
About to say, it does show I'm talking, so.
Let's see here. Maybe the hyaloid artery coming out, arteries coming off of the surface of the earth. This happens sometimes. I have to reset my sound card.
Hold on. Hey, Jacob, mind muting?
Give me just a minute, Sam. Let me fix this. I'm probably talking right over you because I cannot hear you. My mic yeah, that's probably what's going on. I need to reset my sound card. Got Jacob in the house.
All right. Thank you, Jacob. And can you actually hear us?
Snapping console. What is this doing?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure it actually wasn't something on my end.
Yeah, no, I didn't mute it. Sorry.
Maybe this will help.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What about now,
here, guys?
No.
I may need to restart. I may need to restart the Hangout because I cannot hear a word you guys are saying.
That sucks.
Different might be. No, I'm in the same Hangout. It's just I'm having computer issues. Let's see here. Let's do this. Windows audio. Here we go.
Technical difficulties with Casey in the morning. That's what this shows now.
Hey, we're on California time, dude.
Dude, I'm in the Midwest. It's like 2 hours ahead. I'm 2 hours ahead of you guys right now. Or at least Casey, anyway.
Yeah, I'm West Coast too, so.
Oh yeah, okay. So you're actually an hour ahead of me even.
Yeah, I'm NorCal.
Oh. Duh. I know what's going on, guys. Sorry.
Casey had his audio muted. I'm
Oh, jeez.
Something dumb.
I suck this morning, don't I? I'm like rebooting my audio and stuff, and all I need it was because I had turned down the music from the intro, and I forgot to turn it back up. Were you guys talking the whole time?
Yeah, we were just chatting with each other really quick.
In between me rambling?
Yeah, in between your technical difficulties, me and Jacob here were just chatting up a little bit.
Oh my God! So what's going on? What are you guys talking about?
Just random stuff, mainly the time differences. And yeah, I just wanted to actually get in here and see if you were up for looking at up with the pentagram this morning, because I think it was yesterday or Friday. I looked that up, and I remember initially hearing about there being two locations in the middle named Adam and Lucifer. But that was altered recently by Google Maps, and now there's only that one singular location, which pops up as a nightclub of all things, and that really struck me as odd.
Huh. All right. Well, I got this pulled up. Let's see if I can remember where it was.
It's 12 miles east of Lysakovsk, which is in, I want to say, the western side of the country.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, because this thing had some crazy alignments. I remember. Oh, let me zoom out here. Gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Look up Lysakovsk and just go a little bit west of it if you can do that.
What's it called? How do you spell it?
I'll type it out in the chat for you.
Okay. I remember it being like up here. Wow, the landscape seems to have changed.
That's what I mean. Looks like they actually did some kind of actual editing.
Whoa.
Because you can't even zoom in completely on the pentagram anymore. It only lets you go so far.
Whoa, so they're busted. Wow, see, we were way off. I would have been searching forever. The heck?
Yeah, it's go east into that reservoir.
It's right there, huh?
Yep. Just zoom in a little bit, and you'll see you can only go so far. A little further west. There you go. You should see it now.
Okay. Wow. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the pentagram. It's upside down too.
Exactly.
So it's aligned to the cardinal north, and it's upside down. So there's no mistake, you guys. This is not like it's just some pentagram right side up. No, this is upside down because he's aligned to north here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line. Now this is some campground, if I remember correctly, right? This is what they're claiming.
I believe so. Yeah, that or a national park of some kind. It's something regarding that.
Okay, we're gonna take this. And we're gonna do this.
Yeah, that's totally obvious. I mean, look at that.
It's huge. Who else we got in the house here? Who else do we got in here?
This is Skeeto.
Skeeto.
Oh, Skeeto, how are you, man?
Now you gotta tell us how you got your name. You gotta tell us.
You guys really want to know the name?
Yeah.
All right, this is a good story. I'll try to be quick about it. So, as many of you know, I was in the U.S. Army. I went in right after high school. I was stationed in Germany, and I play guitar. And there was a British cat that was in the same barracks, where I was living, and he was a really good drummer. So we started a band together over there, and at the time we were going out and doing army stuff, drinking, after we got off work, and we were heading to the ATM on post, and they have like some big stones on post, and I tried to do an acrobatic maneuver and jumped up and fell smack on my face.
Oh man.
So Alex, he's like, you're like a mosquito, like, it got smacked, right? So the name just kind of stuck, so I got called Skeeto from after that.
Wow. That's nuts, man. It sounds like mosquito, like smack like a mosquito.
Exactly, that's what it was, yeah.
How about the punk part? How'd that come in?
The punk part? Because we were playing like punk rock and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just put them together, and it was, when I had signed up for Hotmail back in the day, I had to come up with a unique name, so it just kind of stuck, and I never changed it.
Yeah.
But now I use my Gmail account and use my initials and last name, but it's kind of funny the way that story came about.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a direct line to ground zero. We're gonna go back to this pentagram. I believe I did some alignments on this, and I swear it literally looked like it was pointing somewhere, and I can't remember where. Maybe
also,
it was,
really, there's another thing I actually regarding the location on Google Maps. It's in the middle of it. What really struck me as odd is almost all the reviews on there, for one, are in Spanish, but two, they're all talking about aliens.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Doesn't look like we really have an alignment with ground zero, but there was somewhere where this pointed. So it was all talking about aliens, huh? Let's look at the history. Let's go in the way back and see what this looked like over the past while. It almost aligns, but not quite. So 2014. Let's see how this thing like shifts and morphs. Wow. Okay. That's really evil. Now again, the capital of Kazakhstan is Astana, which you can scramble that, and it says Satan, Hasatan, that's a name that Satan goes by too, Hasatan.
Yeah, it's the Hebrew for the name Satan.
Yeah, and we did find the feathered serpent, which is of course Satan, in the capital city of Astana, on the capital grounds here.
You can find everything in that city. That city is so laced with symbolism; it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Here's the feathered serpent, and this actually points to the temple of the feathered serpent in Mesoamerica. which is bizarre. There's a line here that actually, I'll show that to you in a minute here. I think it's this line here, points to the Temple of the Feathered Serpent. But here you see the feather in the background. This is the feathered tail. Let's look at the history machine on this. And, okay, there we go. There's your serpent, the feather. Of course, we do know that birds are reptiles. They're feathered reptiles. I don't know how that fits into this whole story, but oh, here, look at this. Look at the serpent there. Whoa.
That's nuts.
Oh yeah. They know that the serpent is a bird. They know that.
Yeah, I mean that's where we get raptor from, right? So.
Actually, I have an interesting theory regarding how birds and reptiles came to be interlined, and they're actually one of the last remnants of genetic crossbreeding by Nephilim before the flood.
Let's hear it, man.
Well, that's effectively it. That because birds and reptiles share a common line up to a certain point, and then they split. And where they conjoin is where I believe the Nephilim actually spliced the two species together, and they're actually considering that they had the gift of flight. They were some of the few creatures that actually managed to survive the flood of Noah before, well, everything else that was every other chimera got wiped out, and they're the only remaining remnants of the Nephilim influence.
Yeah, and that would also explain why we see dragon depictions across the world, right? I mean, places that had no connection to one another had these hieroglyphs drawn on their walls, so obviously these creatures did exist.
Yeah, and I believe that's the explanation for all dinosaurs, that they were the genetic modifications of natural creation.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you actually look at the fossil records, because I was looking at something where the fossil layer where all the dinosaurs are in actually is a highly sedimentary layer, which means there was a lot of water activity and everything happened to settle there, and it buried effectively the corpses of these massive animals. And all these fossils are found on the exact same level, which means it was some massive global event, or worldwide event, I should say. Not global, because that doesn't exist. But anyway, yeah, it was a massive worldwide event that caused them all to die at roughly the same time.
Exactly, that's what I've come across as well.
Yeah. Now, I agree 100%, and that's the big white elephant in the room. That's why they place these astronomical dates on the dinosaurs. It's to get us basically smoke and mirrors so that we never find the truth, because if we think things are millions and billions of years old, then that does not jive with the Bible, you see.
Yep. It's all a stunt to discredit the Bible. That's exactly what it is. They want to keep God hidden from us. So that's why that's why they're pushing evolution in school, and they don't talk about the firmament. It's all interrelated.
Right.
Which, on a slightly funnier note, makes me incredibly grateful that I slept through all of school and somehow managed to pass everything.
Yeah. And for some people can criticize about searching for alternative explanations for all this. Mm-hmm. But guys, here's how I justify this. The Bible tells us who the ruler of this world is, and that is Satan. It says that once after the fall, he's the ruler. So it would make sense that if he's in control of all this, that he would be manipulating the truth.
He can distort history because he has free reign.
Exactly.
For the time being, and it takes a lot of discernment. You have to do a lot of deep research, and you have to read your Bible, and that's the only way you're going to find this information. Because you're not going to get it in schools. The public education system is not going to teach you this stuff, and you really have to do your own homework and due diligence to come across this information.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least from a perspective of someone who's searching from a purely research standpoint. I mean, obviously the enemy, and I'm living proof of this, the enemy can easily give you all the information you want if you use his methods, and he can show the truth of everything to you, as was unfortunately done to me when I was projecting in my past. I spent like a few years doing it, at least a few years.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it's staggering how much of what we're told is actually wrong. It's absolutely just mind-blowing.
Because I'll tell you this, when I started doing homework and research on these topics, it all started with 9/11. Okay, so once I saw the inconsistencies there, it led to other topics, and it all led me to the Bible. Okay, within 2 years, I went from those topics, and it all of it led to the Bible.
Yep.
I wish I could say I had a story that was that in-depth as to why I started projecting. I mean, I gave my testimony on my video, but what kicked it off was actually me looking at a yo-yo, and that's what started the whole thing. The reason being is because that yo-yo actually got me thinking of the concept of chaos, which got me going back to the primordial state of everything, which, of course, ultimately was the kicker for me to go to astral projection. I mean, I didn't say that detail in my testimony because I didn't think it was important. It kind of isn't, but in any case, yeah, that's effectively what kicked off the very beginning of my searching, which of course started with a lot of research before I learned of astral projection.
Wow.
Yeah, the Bible says we're supposed to keep our eyes fixed on heaven. I know you went through a kind of an awakening after a lot of deception in your life, Sam.
Yep.
I don't particularly seek out astral projection, but early on in my awakening, I thought that was a way to get closer to God. And it's not to say that it never happened, because it happens in the Bible. I mean, all these visions these individuals had, they were basically taken up into heaven, and this is biblical.
Yeah.
But there is such a thing as getting addicted to it and not keeping our feet on the ground, I guess, is the lesson. I don't know.
Well, actually, the key difference between astral projection and being taken up in the spirit is one key factor: whether or not you do it yourself. If you're taken up in the spirit, it's Yahweh sending his spirit to occupy your body while he brings you up to another plane to show you something. Whereas if you astral project, you purposely leave your body, let whatever spirit's going to enter it, and they keep your body occupied while you're off searching. That's the key difference between one and the other. Mechanically, they're similar, but the source is entirely different.
I never thought about it that way, but yeah, that makes sense, because that explains a lot of testimonies where God takes people to see things, right? And it's not them doing it on their own will. It's the Lord doing it.
No, because they have no knowledge of how to do it, because it's effectively one of the deeper arts of biblical necromancy. Because that's what astral projection is, the communication with spirits via your own spirit, which, biblically speaking, is necromancy.
Yes.
So here we go. I've got this, I got some couple things pulled up for you guys. This is the Temple of the Feathered Serpent in Mesoamerica, Mexico. And when you draw a line to Astana and its feathered serpent, we get an odd alignment. Let's take a look at it. We get a perfect match of this line here. See that?
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's nuts. And then obviously that's a dominant. Let's do this. This is slowly becoming the new capital of the New World Order. I don't know if you guys have read any news on Astana and what it represents.
Yeah, I've looked into it a little bit, and it's, I mean, just, you can even look at the city and tell that it's going to be the capital of the New World Order, just simply due to how all the symbols line up and how they're all pointing effectively to a few particular points within the city itself.
I mean, look at this. This is creepy, you guys. Look at that. What? Like, sometimes I can't even believe the stuff that we find. Now, okay, so some people, for a long time I was doing these alignments. It's kind of how this channel got, the recognition, I guess, that it has. We were doing these alignments. We were finding these ancient alignments all around the world that were pointing to opposite ends of the Earth. And then when we started looking at a convex Earth model, people are like, well, how does that jive with all these round Earth calculations that you've been doing? Well, here's how. Yeah.
I mean, it almost looks like a sword being driven through a rainbow, if you look at it.
Whoa.
Right.
Wow.
So you've got a rainbow there, and there's a sword or a dagger being driven through it.
Well,
facing to the pyramid.
yes, I mean this is the convex lens Earth. I feel like this is the eye. Look at this. This is okay. Here's the lens. Here's the eye. Here are the sun and moon rotating above, underneath the firmament. Okay, all the stars are fixed in the firmament here. Here is the swords coming through the as above pyramid, basically slaying God from our spiritual experience, and the feathered serpent is the one wielding the sword. Okay, and this is the looking out, right?
That's exactly what it looks like.
And there's the pyramid of looking out, which is the pyramids on Earth, and this is their pyramid here. I mean, this is unbelievable, you guys.
You want to know what this actually reminds me of? It actually reminds me of the first white horse that rides out as a conqueror in Revelation, because this is like a perfect depiction of Satan driving his sword effectively into humanity and conquering it to establish his world order for the beasts to reign.
Yeah, right. And that's why the Broncos won this year. I mean, this is all tied together.
And what does the Bible say? That the serpent will elevate himself, or try to elevate himself above the Most High. So here we are standing on the convex lens Earth, and the serpent is elevated. Unbelievable. And look at that alignment. That's crazy.
This is insane, yeah.
Yeah, that's insanity. Okay, so what else do I got here for you guys? Okay, so here's the serpent eating its tail. This is the fill them all symbol, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The Ouroboros, which is APEP, which is Apophis. APEP is like a phone app. That's basically what APEP is. It's our busy work, keeping us distracted. Let's see what else do we have. We have the yellow mixed with the blue makes green. Yellow and blue makes green. Okay, so this is the serpent green, obviously. The yellow usually represents Christ. What does blue represent? I don't know what that represents.
I want to say it represents royalty. I know blue is, at least biblically speaking, it's a color of royalty.
Oh, yeah.
That or the servant, one of the two. It's I know royalty or the servant. I'm not 100% sure offhand.
Royal blue, yeah, exactly, royal blue. Interesting.
You know, there was a good video posted yesterday by Kleck on, you know, the female anatomy being featured in some of the opening ceremonies to the Olympics, right? And how it looks like a female's reproductive parts, and how it being birthed into this new world order.
Yes.
It's highly interesting. I might, you know, I would recommend checking it out.
Yeah, I like a lot of Jonathan's work, and I'm definitely going to check that out. I was waiting for him to cover that because he does a really good job on that kind of stuff.
It's about a 15-minute video, so it's not going to take up a lot of your time, but it's pretty on point.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Pisces has been a repeating theme. We saw that in I Pet Goat 2. Big Vesica Pisces coming in through the cavern of the church. Let's look that up. Vesica Pisces Pet Goat. I probably spelled that wrong.
Maybe you can pull up a screenshot, Casey, of the opening ceremony and how it looks like the female reproductive parts. I mean, it's completely obvious what you're looking at. You know, if you have the background information and you've done some of the homework on it, it's you know, and there's even mainstream news articles that are posting on this saying it looks like a woman's reproductive parts. So even people who haven't done their homework kind of caught on to that and saying, hey, this doesn't look right.
Yeah. So here's the scene from My Pet Goat 2, the Vesica Pisces. Now, we did a video showing that this was the stained glass of the church that burned down in New York, and that we showed this Vesica Pisces with the church. Let me pull that up real quick. Let's do this. And then I'll pull up some images of the opening of Rio, and we can compare that too.
Yeah, cool.
Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna close because it's chewing up all my. I think we're done with it pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Two Scoops. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about that pentagram?
Aside from the nightclub, which I really, you have to go on actual Google Maps to do that. It won't show. It doesn't look like it's showing up on Google Earth. Because for whatever reason, like I said, the exact middle of that pentagram, it shows that there's a nightclub there, which honestly, that blew me away when I looked at that.
Yeah. Right. Church burn. There it is. Okay, so this is it. This church that they burned down was foreshadowed in iPet Goat. Here's the side by side. And let's look at this. I mean, this is unbelievable. This, I guess, is like a ceiling panoramic view of the church, and there it is right there. Look at this. There's the arch down there. The Antichrist comes through this. You even have the teardrop formation of the chandelier matching this area here. Then you get the ribs of the ceiling of this church. This is the one that burned down in New York. And then here's your stained glass at the top. Again, iPad Goat came out in 2012. So, you know, like, how did that even happen?
So, Casey, looking at the cathedral on the left, you look at the opening ceremony and the darker part, right, with the opening, the flower on the top, right, that looks very much like the opening ceremony.
Whoa.
At Rio. So if you can pull up a screenshot and compare it to the picture on the left, they look very similar.
Whoa, let's take a look at that. Rio opening ceremony. You know, I probably need to decode this. You know, some of this stuff, it's like everything can be decoded, right? So I have to kind of focus my attention on, but this is probably something, because it looks like a big deal. I mean, look at this. Vesica.
So, yeah, scroll down.
You see it? Gosh, look at this thing. Oh, it's supposed to be 3 people in a circle. Like, that's the unholy trinity right there, huh? They're dancing in a circle. That guy broke his leg. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was gnarly. Let's fix this. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Gosh, my computer's so slow. Okay, let me know when you see it, because I have no idea.
So maybe redo the search and put female reproductive.
Okay, reopen female reproductive.
Yeah, female reproductive. That might bring it up.
All right.
Not seeing it yet.
You guys are gonna find this interesting. Sorry, I'm paying attention here, but I'm also looking something up because I wanted to check something with the pentagram again. And on Google Maps, now they actually removed the nightclub listing that was smack in the middle of the pentagram. Ever since I've been talking about it a couple days ago.
Wow, unbelievable! Don't you love how they do that?
Yeah.
It's almost like they're tracking all of us. Like, we're on the top of their list of people to track and adjust the matrix. They change the rules of the matrix.
Yeah, I kind of wish I made a video on it so I'd actually have physical proof on it, but oh well, it's not the most important thing in the world. At least now, anyway.
Well, it's all about keeping the New World Order honest, right? And
yeah.
Every time we can do that, we win.
That or them trying to make us look like idiots, one of the two.
Yeah. I don't see it.
I'm not seeing it, Casey, but it's there. You might have to do a little digging to find it.
Sure.
But it's there, and it's spot on. I mean, there's no denying it. The way the people are lined up, it's definitely a female reproductive system.
Dude, this looks like hell right here. I mean, look at this, man.
Yeah, actually, I think I found it. I'm gonna pull it up here in a second for you and screen share it for you guys so you can see.
Cool.
Yes.
Oh, what happened to my? There you go. I'll stop screen sharing.
Yeah,
you have the floor.
In a second here. Computer, for whatever reason, was liking to load slow lately. Probably gotta clean some stuff out on it. Go.
Yeah, Professor Piante, how do you say your name, man?
How do I screen share on this guy?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Professor Sapientii. It's Latin. I made the name when I was really interested in language at the time, and it just means teacher, provider of knowledge.
Nice. What can we
Yeah.
talk? What can we call you for
Just
short?
call me, just call me Mike. My real name.
Okay, cool. Mike is
Yeah.
in the house,
Yeah.
and
Mike's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Cool.
right. Hey, man, you've been on the channel a long time, and I appreciate everything, all your input that you've given over the last couple years.
Yeah, the appreciation's reciprocated. This is a very, very important channel, and you do some excellent work here. You've only been, you've been interested in these things for a few years, but I've been investigating these things since I could read, when I was a small child, essentially, and it's weird to see these things unfolding in front of your eyes, the things that you've read about, especially being so far in the past, seeing what the plans are and kind of thinking they're unrealistic because, only
Okay.
5, 10, 20 years ago,
Is this what you were talking about with the giant female genitalia bit here? You can see it.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it won't let me exactly pull up the image any larger. I'll see if I can pull it up a little larger for you guys to see here.
Are you sharing, Scoot?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I'm not seeing it. All right, let's see.
I see it.
Yeah, that's it right there. I mean,
Yep.
that's definitely a female reproductive system, and a lot of people caught on to that.
Yeah,
Wow.
just figured I'd show that to you guys really quick since I'm in here, and I'll stop that now.
All right. So, Mike,
There we go.
my guess is that after all of this stuff, that there is some kind of dark history book that the devil has devised, that basically he knows every single point of history that he's going to create, and it's already been written down, and all of us are just playing it out.
Oh, for sure.
I wouldn't exactly say it's that, Casey, but it's a similar method, namely because you have to take this into account. Angels are extra-dimensional beings, not as high as God, the Father, God, obviously, but they don't follow the same laws of time we do. So for like angels such as Satan or Michael or those who are like fourth or fifth dimensional, our concept of time is extremely compressed to them. So our entire history, well, for us it's like roughly 6-ish thousand years, give or take. For an angel such as Satan, that would possibly be compressed down to like maybe 500 or 600 years, or by some other factor, to where it's an extremely small window of time, compared to in terms of his relative time scale, simply because it's the exact same thing as looking at a 2D or 1D image, and how it's extremely compressed for us. The same compression translates up the scale until you get to the timeless dimension, which I believe is the 10th dimension, where God himself lies or sits on his throne.
Wow. I'm just seeing these orchestrated supernatural synchronicities that definitely are from another dimension and out of this world, that we are picking up on. We're picking up bits and pieces of the fabric of the Matrix, and it's so well crafted that it seems like it's already been written down and kind of planned out. And then the devil uses his puppet strings of money and those who rise to the top. I mean, think about this for a minute. The people in our society that are held at the highest regard and make the most money and are the most valued are basically buffoons of the royal court, actors.
That's right.
Think about that for a second.
Yep.
And we've all been brainwashed when we manifested in this reality through birth to seek after these people and look up to them and want to be like them. And that's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, it's just translated idol worship, man. Instead of back in ancient days where they made their own idols, now our idols are made for us. And instead of being of wood and stone, they're actually of flesh, which in my opinion is far more blasphemous than wood or stone ever could be.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
So, go ahead, guys.
it's on. Yeah, I know a lot of people have come to the same conclusion, but it's like, it really is a storyboard, and history's already written. So God knows His saints. He knows the people that are going to be called. Some will be called, and they won't. They won't follow through, but many will, and and it's all coming into alignment now, and that's why so many people are waking up right now. It's because they have a calling on their life. And God is placing circumstances in their lives, to break them down, whether it be financially, in a relationship, with a job, to humble people because they're going to be used for His purpose. And we can see that happening right now.
Really quick, if I may add something, this is actually explained biblically through Ezekiel's own prophecy. Because if you realize during the Babylonian exile, the northern kingdom of Israel never repented. And per Ezekiel's prophecy, their punishment was originally 390 years. However, due to their lack of repentance, the compounding in Leviticus came into play, which multiplied their punishment by 7 years, which I believe puts the overall punishment to 2,300 something years. Which, if you take that forward from the Babylonian exile, that lands at around 2009, which is around the time when a lot of people started waking up. So this is effectively Israel coming to all of us, the kingdom of Israel, coming to repentance and actually turning back to Yahweh.
Yeah, because you look at a lot of the false prophets that are out there right now, Sam, and what you see is the church being divided. What you see is the church that teaches repentance, right? And then you have the tickle your ears church.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a stark contrast to that, and that's being revealed right now. The veil is being lifted. So people who are actually preaching the gospel and preaching repentance, they're being scorned right now. And that goes back to the 501c3 churches and the tickle your ears stuff, and that's exactly what is happening.
Oh yeah, exactly what's happening. Because as Casey said, Satan's using his strings of money to manipulate men who are supposedly following Yeshua into teaching the flock falsely, while in reality the tool that they use to most oppress us, being the internet, is the very tool that Yahweh is using to expose everything that's being done to them.
Yeah, it works both ways.
Yeah, it's actually incredible if you look at it, because you can see in every way where Yahweh the Father is trumping Satan, and it's probably going to get to the point where Satan finally commits that sin against Yahweh and falls, as is stated in Revelation, and at which point his kingdom will finally be set up on earth physically.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand is that the New Jerusalem is a cube.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the light version of the cube, of the dark cube. Everything that God does that is good, the devil has an evil counterpart that looks a lot like it, but it's different. And you got to be very careful when we start to, label things. See, so God's cube would represent the unity between heaven and earth, right? Because the cube is the hexagon at the center portion of the Star of David, or the cube star matrix, right? But then the devil uses the cube as the prison. This is now becomes our prison down here on earth, because he wants to take away the upper portion of the pyramid, pushing down on the lower portion, which creates a Star of David. He wants to remove that upper portion, which is God coming down to us. And we saw that in the film Star Trek, where the symbol used for this device that was a world-ending device had a pyramid with a hexagon at the top of it. So that's the below and the marriage of God without the God in it. the true God anyway, the false God.
Yeah, and in fact, there's another thing that, as you were talking about, which popped up. I'm actually curious to see what kind of dimensions the false city is actually going to be, given that Satan always makes his counterfeit, and Yahweh, God, uses the length of stadia, which in the number given in Revelation is 12,000. So I'm curious if Satan, mind you, it's just my spitballing here, if it is actually going to make one roughly half the size in order to full-blown show the sinful nature of his kingdom right off the bat, given that obviously 666 is the number of the beast, and if he'll use that in the design of his false city.
Right, exactly. Hey guys, drop me a link of your YouTube page in the chat, and a couple folks in the chat are asking for your links to back to your channel. So if you put in our little group chat here, I can copy and paste it into the group chat.
Oh, no problem.
Right on.
There we go. There's mine.
All right. This is Mr. Two Scoops that I'm going to drop in here first for those that want to check out his channel. He's got some good stuff on there. And
yeah, I try to keep the uploads about once a week or so. I mean, with how work is, I kind of try to do at least that, but sometimes if I can, I'll do a little more, but at least I do once a week.
Right on. I've got yours up there, Sam. Mike, did you want to put yours up there?
Yeah, sure, but you know, there's nothing related to this on my channel. It's more like seeing our Father's creation, because I've seen quite a few places, and I have a lot of videos of. Well, you know, it's funny that your recent video about the ancient tree stumps. A week ago, I was just at Petrified Forest, and I actually passed Devil's Tower. I went on a cross-country drive to visit my family in Ohio, and I came back, and I went through a lot of national parks and camped out at them. And it's funny because I've always had a lot of questions about the Grand Canyon and the Devil's Tower specifically, which I didn't realize were hexagonal features. I always knew about the odd shape to it, but didn't realize they were hexagonal, like Devil's Postpile right by us in California and in the Sierras. And what's that, in Ireland?
Yeah, it's in Ireland.
Causeway.
Yeah, I keep saying Scotland, and people are about to wring my neck. They're like, dude, get it right. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny the timing of that. I mean, it was just a week ago. I took a bunch of pictures and a video about the Petrified Forest, and it just, none of it makes sense, especially with the Grand Canyon, and there's no signs of water erosion for how deep it is, and it's mostly marble and granite there. And you know, there's areas all around there in Arizona and Utah where it's sandstone, and it's also part of the Colorado River, and it doesn't have anywhere near the same patterns, like how deep the river is below the main surface of the land. And you know, sandstone is significantly softer than granite, and it just doesn't make sense. It looks more like something else created those huge canyons, and then the river just filled it in at the bottom just from, you know, natural drainage. And it just seemed weird to me thinking about it, because it makes a lot of sense about, you know, how you feel when you're in the mountains. It doesn't, you know, it's just a bunch of rocks. And why does it feel so magnificent when you're standing on top of a mountain, or even at the base of it, just looking at them from the distance, and the patterns of their shapes? It's always been something that's mystified me, and I just thought the timing of that was impeccable. Yeah,
that's pretty amazing, and I'm seeing that we all synchronize with each other, those of us who are searching for the truth, and this happens a lot. And it's no mistake that you were up there and near there and saw that, and then a week later, because obviously I didn't know that you were up there, you know, and
they were living in
and so that's pretty amazing. Yeah, but I just put a link to the video in the chat here that we came up with. There was a gentleman that actually did a documentary video, and he was going around the world and looking at these megalithic structures that are basically look like a bunch of compressed hexagonal columns. And these columns seem to sweep up and into the air almost perfectly vertically. We're told that these were ancient magma chambers, and that these chambers, that this lava perfectly formed these hexagonal columns when cooled, and that it was these perfect vertical structures. But when you really think about it, and they're all chopped off at the top like a perfectly axed down tree stump is what they look like, and they're all over the world. When you really think about it, and you think about books of the Bible like Daniel that talk about a tree that reaches up to the heavens, then we begin to get a different picture. And then when you tie that into the inner eye anatomy, and we look at the hyaloid cavity, or the hyaloid canal, and the hyaloid artery here that reaches from the lens of the Earth all the way up to basically the optic nerve, and where that enters into the central brain, then we begin to see a picture emerge. And on the left here, you're looking at the center stalk of some kind of a plant, and we see the hexagonal features repeated at the center of the stalk of this plant. And that to me is pretty amazing. Because we're seeing these features now repeated all over the Earth in these geologic formations. I believe this is the narrow gate, you guys. I really do. And all this is a map to the truth. It doesn't mean that we're literally living in an eye, or that that there's truth somewhere outside of the Christ plan. The plan is Christ. All that this is it's the proof of that plan, that God knew the beginning from the end and created us with the truth embedded within our anatomy and our physiology. And this is the final proof that people are going to need, because people want to deny God and say there's no God and he doesn't exist and I don't see God in my life. Here it is right here, you guys. Right here. So we got any newcomers into the show today? Probably not going to go on too long, you guys. You guys have any final thoughts?
Yeah, namely on the on everything you've been doing with the eye. I mean, it's just a bit of a comment for me. For any of those who, if they're listening or who happen to listen later on, who still, for whatever reason, doubt your work on that, I just simply have to tell them, all you gotta do is go outside and just look at a tree, because a tree is the perfect layout of the of effectively the veins within someone's eye. I mean, it mirrors that vein work perfectly. It mirrors the vein work in your body. All you have to do is just look at that just to even get started on these similarities. I'm not even going to begin to go into everything you did, because I'll be honest, I don't remember all of it. But that's just something that stuck out to me, because for a while I was kind of like on the fence about what you were doing with the eye, Casey, but then I looked at a tree, and for whatever reason it just all clicked one day when I was just looking at a tree, and I'm like, that's effectively how our veins look in the eye, and everything else fell into place from there. So
yeah. And it's not one of those things that is going to cause you to lose or gain your salvation.
Oh no, not at all. It's something that it's similar to what I do. It helps you. It helps you down the road, but it's not what gets you or causes you to lose your salvation. Christ is ultimately the source for our salvation, and our walk and our knowledge is all given to us through Scripture by Yahweh. We simply have to have the eyes to see, no pun intended there. But yeah, I mean, it's just knowledge to help us down the road in our individual walks.
Yeah.
But it's these little things that bring people to the fold. So, and that's why these things need to be looked at and analyzed, because it could be this little thing that brings somebody to Christ.
Well, yeah, and then what about, and also the people in power? You know, the scientists, biologists, geologists, actors. You know, these people are the ones that have really the true power to influence many, many, many more people than you or I could ever influence. And if they could see this, and they could be convicted by this and understand that they've been deceived, that's one less person fighting for the dark side, right?
That's exactly it, and that's why it's so important that all of our bases are covered, right? This is all absolutely very critical and important.
Agreed.
I think I get the most pushback from fundamentalist Christians, people who only want to get their information from a pastor or a doctrine. And I tell them, I go, look, God created our eyes. It's the devil who's trying to take the eye and make it the all-seeing eye and make it a horrible and bad thing. Well, that would be like the perfect plan, right? If I was the devil, that's what I would do. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to find the one thing where everybody could find the truth, and I'm going to make it dark, and I'm going to make it evil, and I'm going to make everyone not even ever look in this one place, and that's the human eye. And that's exactly what the devil did, and look, it's worked. And it goes back to how you use the information. If I were on here saying, look, this is why we should worship the Illuminati, then obviously I'd be using that for evil. But if I'm pointing this back to God and saying God created our eyes, He's an architect, and what better way for an architect to hide the truth in his body of work, which is our creation?
That's it, man. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And Casey, I just want to add on to what Mr. Two Scoops said and reiterate on how important the eye work is. But again, for anybody that doubts your work about the eye and about us being mixed with the seed of the serpent, I would encourage everyone to watch a music video that was extremely popular over 20 years ago. It was very controversial as well. And it was by 9 Inch Nails, Closer. You watch the director's cut. It's unedited. There's nudity in it, and the F word's used a couple of times, but you won't even question it anymore. It's extremely obvious. And it was over 20 years ago.
I need to rewatch that one because I remember seeing it back in the day when they
you'll be shocked
when they were showing it on
obvious
TV. But yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that one and.
I put the link to that video in the chat. So.
Okay, I'm sure it'll click now, but it didn't back then. So.
Yeah, it was a very popular song at the time. I remember it was one of my favorite songs then. I was a teenager then, and it was real popular because it's a double entendre kind of song. It's very sexual in nature, which is why it became so popular.
Yeah.
But it's undeniable.
Yeah.
Oh, something actually. Sorry to interrupt, but something actually just clicked with me. What if the church buildings, the brick and mortar church buildings, are Satan's false cube and false mimicry of the New Jerusalem from God?
I would agree with that.
Dude, I've thought about that a lot. I really have.
And what if stained glass is like the stain of the seeing clearly through the glass?
Exactly, or looking through the muddied waters, as it were, and seeing only blurred images. And in this case, they shape the images to what they want you to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually seen an image floating around from a church or cathedral somewhere, and it shows the character we call Jesus Christ inside of a hexagram, inside stained glass, right in the middle.
Is that an iPad Go by chance, Casey? Because that sounds like something right out of that.
Yeah, he busts through these rectangles. I figured that out. What that rectangle is the Fibonacci rectangle when he's busting through. Let me pull that up real quick. And it's basically it's a ratio of aesthetically pleasing Fibonacci frame. It's the letterbox frame that we watch on a wide screen. See, they know all the sorcery, you guys.
Casey, I mean, another point to touch on, and I'm sure this has been covered before. I didn't hear it, but when you look at all these demonic movies and stuff where people are possessed, it's always a Catholic church, a Catholic priest that drives the demon out, which is contrary to Scripture, right? Because we all know about the Catholic Church, the Vatican, and the Jesuits, right? So it's giving a false sense of deliverance, right? And that ties back into the stained glass and what these churches are built for.
Yep.
Well, also, why do you usually see Luciferians wearing crosses around their neck?
Exactly.
It's a graven image.
Yep.
Wow. So here is the rectangle. This is also, if you're watching this on a laptop, this is the shape of your screen of your laptop. And this can be drawn with a square and compass. There's your Freemasonry square and compass. And this is called the golden rectangle. This is profiled in IPEG GOAT when the Antichrist figure busts through the golden rectangle. Let's see if we can find it. Go to rectangle. Now these guys have admitted that they have foreshadowed some events right on their website. They've admitted this. Let's see if we can. Oh, here it is. Okay, so here he's busting through these Fibonacci golden rectangles. The Christ figure, kind of a bad image of it, but there's these concentric rectangles that he busts through. Let's go to heliofant.com. And we go into the clues and the classroom. I just want to show you where he admits that they foreshadowed Sandy Hook. I mean, that's pretty dark. It says here, when I started working on the film in 2005, the character of Lily quickly appeared to me in the context of the classroom. I was puzzled by this little blonde girl. Surely this is a mistake, I thought. The children in the classroom on 9/11 were for the most part black. There was not a fair-haired child present that day. Yet I kept seeing her, and I felt she needed to be there, so I relinquished to what was seen. Only after the events of Sandy Hook did I realize that what I had seen was Obama's classroom, a ritual sacrifice of children on the part of the shadow government, designed to strike terror into the nation. So that's an admission that they foreshadowed the event. Now, I believe that he's not telling us the whole story, because we found far more foreshadowings. In fact, this one was probably the one that was least profound out of all the stuff we found. I mean, we even matched up each of these 12 figures to the 12 victims from the Aurora, Colorado shooting based on their markings. And there's different, when you zoom in, there's very specific markings, and you can match the figures to the obituaries and the information that we were given of the victims from Aurora, Colorado. Of course, there was an exit door that was left open at the Aurora Theater, right? And that's how the perpetrator got in. So they've got the movie lighting and door ajar right here. Again, this released long before these events happened, all foreshadowed. Pretty wild stuff. So the devil uses the Fibonacci magic to basically lull us to sleep, keep control over us, and make us serve him, basically, you guys. He's going to use the aesthetically pleasing Fibonacci ratio, which manifests in like shells. When you look at seashells, that's in a Fibonacci sequence. Every living thing is shaped into the Fibonacci sequence. Even your arm is a formula. Okay, your arm, from your top of your arm to your forearm to your carpals and metacarpals and your fingers, it's all laid out in a specific Fibonacci sequence and ratio, which is the same thing that you see with budding plants and branches. The world of creation is branching things that branch in a Fibonacci sequence, in a Fibonacci, I guess you can call it a formula. And it's
the Fibonacci sequence it's the code of life.
Exactly. So it's not bad, but the devil knows the secret. None of us know it. I mean, we do, but mainstream people do not know that your screen has a ratio that is pleasing to your eye, because it draws you in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Casey, I put a link in the group chat, a picture to that stained glass window with Jesus in the center of the hexagram.
Right on. All right, here we go. Good work. Let's blow this up. Wow. So there's the cube. Now, obviously, wow, dressed in red too. Now, this is crazy. Because if you were to lay out dots, okay, this is crazy. I'm going to show you guys this. 37, 73. I don't even know how I keep all this straight in my head. Cube, star. This is the cube star matrix. And this, I believe, reveals the truth about Christ. Because, let's view this. View image. Okay. These are dots, simple dots. When you lay these dots out, they form a cube and a star. Inside, the purple dots are 37 dots, and the blue dots with the purple is 73. 37 is the 21st prime number, or the 12th prime number. 73 is the 21st prime number. That forms a mirror box. 37, 73, 21, 12, right? Now, 12/21, December 21st, is the darkest day of the year, the winter solstice. It's also the day that Christ was conceived in the womb. When you count 38 weeks out from December 21st, it lands on, anybody? 9/11, which I believe is his true birthday, which is why they carried out the biggest sacrifice in U.S. history on that day. It's sorcery, right?
Right, and then they make the Freedom Tower in spite.
Exactly.
Yeah, an effigy of the Tower of Babel is the ultimate insult to Yahweh himself.
It's all to smite God.
I'd like to also point out that 73 and 37, not only are they mirrors, but you add them together, you get 110. Now, the mirror date of 12/21 is January 10, 110. And Casey, you've mentioned that 3755, the Hebrew year, would be the year of conception. Those 37, its mirror, again, is 110. 55, you mirror 55, it's the same, it's 110.
And the Twin Towers were 110 stories each.
Exactly.
Oh! So there you go. There's the Christ story in the World Trade Center. The two towers were the two thieves at the sides of Christ being crucified. Building 7 represented Christ, the God number. In between the Twin Towers and the eyes of good and evil, and what they did is they brought down the eyes of good and evil to rebuild it in their image, which is the Freedom Tower, combining both eyes, muddying the waters, graying the rainbow, and that is how they've deceived the world.
Can I just say this is why I love these talks?
Damn, dude. Casey, it sounds like you might have to update your shirt, dude.
Yeah. I gave up on the shirts, man. It's just too deep. Like, most people can't... I mean, even if you were to put all this on a shirt, it's just... My hope with the shirts was to get other people to ask questions about what they're seeing on the shirt. But what has happened is the information is so profound that people can almost perceive it as whoever's wearing the shirt is just crazy. I mean, I don't want anyone to get in trouble by wearing a shirt, you know?
Yeah.
But
it's the exact same thing with my experience with astral projection. For the longest time, I couldn't tell anyone about it because it's like they just look at me as like I'm insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. So I'm looking at this image here, and yes, okay, yeah, you said that you saw this. This is the chandelier here in the middle. It's at the bottom of the Vesica Pisces as well, right above Jesus' head here. See, so they know. These people know exactly what's going on. Here's your convex lens right here. Here's your convex lens Earth, right behind Jesus.
Yeah, that's...
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the inner eye right here, you guys. Convex lens Earth. Here's the walls of the eye. Here's the below pyramid, which is why we have pyramids on Earth, because that's their bragging about their God on Earth, right? The Egyptians were gods. And then here's the above, which is supposed to be God meeting us, but they've combined the two and formed the prison through religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keeps us all divided. Wow, this is crazy.
This is nuts, yeah.
Plus, you know, you see all the images with the pierced heart. They call it the Sacred Heart, and it's usually burning. Well, if you look at the image of, or not the image, but the symbol for Jupiter, it's essentially, it's half the symmetrical view of a heart with a cross on the top. It's just mirrored. If you put up a mirror to half of a symmetrical picture, it's going to look the same on the other side. And this is exactly what you'll get. It'll look like a caricature of a heart with a cross through the middle of it.
Yeah, you know, and that heart symbol, I mean, you look, you guys, I understand that okay, it's what you use it for, but who devised the heart symbol? Where did that come
exactly.
from?
Yeah, good luck trying to find the origin of that. I've tried.
Right. And why did Twitter change their like symbol from stars to hearts on the day that they did?
Yeah, Egyptian Valentine's Day.
Exactly. Which goes back to the World Trade Center story again, because Egyptian Valentine's Day is on November 4th, on the eve of the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, they opened the New Freedom Tower on 11/3. It opened a day before Egyptian Valentine's Day. But when you take the mirror date of Egyptian Valentine's Day, it puts you on February 26th, which was the date of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing.
Stuff is so deep and connected. You literally have to get like a whiteboard or a chalkboard and
yeah,
and make diagrams to connect it all. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, really quick to go back to the heart symbolism, I actually may be able to explain a little bit on that. Namely because the heart is the ultimate exemplification of the will of the flesh over the will of God, and that the heart is the center of our emotions. It's the center of everything that goes against Yahweh, the center of I, the center of myself, the center of effectively human arrogance, in my opinion. So the heart symbol, I wouldn't necessarily say comes from anything in particular, but comes from the will of flesh being exerted over the will of God, which is effectively the whole point of religion.
Yes, and it's the false love. It's the
love of self.
Exactly, because agape is the true love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Play this real quick.
Hey guys, enter the stars and Twitter. You are so busted. Did you do something different on Twitter? The favorites went from stars to hearts. Look at this. No more stars. Now all we have is hearts. Now, what is the story behind this? Twitter explains. We hope that you like what you see on Twitter and Vine today. Hearts. We are changing our star icon for favorites to a heart, and we'll be calling them likes. We want to make Twitter easier and more rewarding to use. But there's a much more and deep meaning behind this, guys. This happened on November 3rd. Now I want you to watch this. November 3rd, converted from the Gregorian to the Julian, is the date we saw in Back to the Future, October 21st, 2015. But it goes deeper. This date converted to the Gregorian is 11/16. That's 9/11 upside down and backwards. Now, November 3rd is the 307th day of the year with 58 remaining, making February 27th its anti-date. So we have 307th day with 58 remaining and 58th day with 307 remaining, which is February 27th. When you convert the 27th back to the Julian calendar, it gives us Valentine's Day. Everything we've been talking about on this channel. And the Valentine's Day of February 14th is why they changed this to the heart. And November 3rd is in fact one day off from Egyptian Valentine's Day. So now we know why Akrashan Kumar announced the change on 11/3. And this all goes back to human sacrifice. This isn't an innocent change. February 26th was the day the World Trade Center was bombed. Take care and be safe.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm in shock sometimes, you guys, because, like, I feel like the world should be seeing this work, and I just feel like not enough people are either seeing it or getting it. I don't know.
They don't want to see it, Casey. That's the sad reality of it. Is a lot of people simply they want their illusion. They don't want the truth. It's something I had to come to grips with myself, and I'm sure a lot of others have.
Yeah, I'm coming to that right now. You know, people in my own family. You can, I can blast them all day long with this stuff, and they just don't want to hear it. They're happy living in their illusion, and honestly, it's fear-based. They don't want to come to the reality that their entire life has been a lie and that they've been duped. Because that's an ego and pride killer, right? Because nobody wants to think that they've been screwed over.
And they don't want the one person in their life who they thought was a little crazy to be the one to give them the message either. I think it's an ego thing.
Yeah, it's definitely ego and pride related.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to eat a bunch of humble pie and realize that, I was wrong, and the information's been out there the entire time, and I got duped, So that's what it really comes down to, and very few people are able to swallow that pill and go down this road, which leads to Christ.
Well, exactly. It's just like when Yeshua said that that only those who are like little children can enter the kingdom of heaven, because you have to be like a child in that. You have to throw away pride. You have to throw away your ego. You have to cast away everything you think you know as an adult, and be like a child who is trusting and who believes what they're hearing not necessarily without questioning, but without pride blinding them.
That's exactly it, 100%.
Absolutely.
And that's very hard for people to do. 95% of the people out there are not going to be able to go down that road.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, all we can do is try. We can try to wake people up and spread this information. And, I know it's getting out there, and but at the same time, there's always that black sheep, that person in the family who knows this stuff and who tries to tell the other people, and they just get mocked and scorned and laughed at.
Yep.
I think with most people, from what I've learned, is something has to happen to them personally before they really start to question anything.
They have to break. They have to break. That's the reality with the human will and it's at least in my case it's played out, but I notice it plays out more prevalently or pronounced with those who have occult backgrounds, because they are deceived to such a degree where them being broken it simply has to happen, because the mind can only handle so much. But with people who are in the illusion, their minds aren't put under that much strain, so for them breaking is a lot harder to achieve, because their mind has to be pushed at, which is why the spirit has to break them. We can't break them.
I've noticed the same thing, Sam. A lot of people who come from the occult backgrounds, actually their transition is much easier because they have been broken down.
Yeah, agreed. I know what you mean.
No, exactly. And the thing is that those people, myself included, have seen at least some of what the other side holds, some of the truth already, so it was just simply twisted. And when it's being untwisted, it becomes easier for us to digest. But at the same time, it's also easier because we know that there is another side entirely, and we know that there's powers manipulating, versus someone who's not into the occult, someone who's in the illusion, who ignores that side of existence entirely.
And talk about a paradox, right? I mean,
yep.
It almost seems counterintuitive, but when you really sit there and think about it, it makes sense.
That's exactly what Yeshua said. He didn't come for those who believe they're righteous, but for the ones who can admit they're sinful. And the ones who can admit they're sinful are the ones who know that there's another side, and the ones who know at least some of the truth. And ironically enough, the best Christians are the ones who were formerly the worst heretics.
Yeah, I mean, look at Paul, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Mr. Two Scoops. I was heavy into the occult and Satanism when I was a teenager, and not only had I been interested in these topics before that, but it's kind of the perfect segue to lead people astray, especially when you're that age, because you already don't fit in, you don't think the way other people do, and that's there in place to where you kind of automatically go to that to ostracize yourself even more because you already don't like everybody else, and you end up learning these things, and like you said, you eventually come to terms and learn how everything's twisted, and you get pulled out of it, and just like you said, you've seen what the other side has, and it makes it easier to make that transition because when you really are searching for these things to learn them, it's going to lead you to Christ. It's going to lead you there.
Whoa, is this a man with breasts?
Yes, it is, Casey. I was just about to ask that.
Holy Jesus.
What is that?
That is the blatant depiction of a transhuman person.
This is exactly what they were showing at the Goddard Base Tunnel thing. There was a man with breasts flying around with wings. They're repeating this. So this is the Baphomet, basically.
Yeah.
And look at all the purple, the color of the devil right here. This is from the opening ceremony?
Yeah.
Wow.
This stuff is nuts. I mean, it's
Unbelievable.
just so in your face now.
See what else we got in here. This looks like a giant eye here. I'll do a quick decode on this, I guess, while we're all here. So we have the serpent eating its tail. Now we have the bimorphic man. Are these some images from it too? Real Olympic Stople and multi. Wow, this looks like Medusa. Almost. She's got these peacock feathers, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, and this looks like the angel that they had too. That was at the Goddard Base Tunnel ritual. Remember that thing flying down?
Yep.
Those images. Wow. Now, I think I did a warning video about Rio, and I was looking at the shape of the stadium, which actually looks like a figure 8.
Those fireworks also look like an exact depiction of the eye.
Oh, yeah, that's the iris. Yes, you're right. This is the iris of the eye that opens and closes, birthing in. Remember, we showed how the iris represents the cervix of the womb, and that the eye is compared to childbirth because we have the umbilical cord, which is like the hilar artery. We have the retina, which is like the placenta. We have the vitreous humor, which is like the amniotic fluid. We have the child upside down in the womb, just like the image comes in upside down into your eye. It's all a giant analogy.
Really quick, Casey, if you don't mind checking this, can you see the alignment between the Washington Mall and where the Olympics exactly were held in Rio?
Yeah, good idea. Let's do that real quick. Unbelievable.
Yeah, because this actually looks like it's going off of the attempted birthing ritual, which was going on at the Reset Gathering.
Wow. Maybe it goes right through it. Maybe it goes right through where Pulse was and all that. So what are we doing? Where the alignment's going to be this stadium?
Yeah, the stadium, and I believe the Washington Monument or the obelisk would be the proper point.
Yeah, exactly, the obelisk.
Yeah, let's check this out. This is Holy Spirit, you guys. This is crazy. All this stuff. Okay, so Rio's down here, so it looks like it's probably going to miss it, but let's take a look. Rio, see if we can find this stadium. What's the name of it? Should pull it up. Oh, wait a minute. What? Rio de Janeiro. Okay, there we go. And here. Let's find the stadium. Now, the stadium is like a figure 8. Let's find it. There it is. Wait. Is this it?
Yeah, Maracana.
Okay. All right, here it is. Crowd alignment here. See where this points. We'll take it up to the Washington Monument. Wouldn't that be crazy if you lined up at the National Mall?
Yeah, the only other point would be the Capitol building, which represents the womb. That's the only other point I could think of.
Yeah. Pull this up here. Oh, so I did want to address how do we juxtapose all these global alignments with a convex lens Earth? And my answer to that is that they're reinforcing the ball Earth through these false alignments. I don't think these alignments are real. I think they're contrived alignments. Sorry about that. See, this is my life. They're contrived alignments to reinforce the ball Earth theory. That's my guess. Okay, and the alignments we're finding is a ball Earth alignment. But if you were actually to try to do these alignments, it probably wouldn't work in reality. Let's see here. Washington, DC. Okay. Pull this out.
Yeah, but ultimately, you know, it doesn't matter, Casey, because there's so many of these alignments that match up that they give themselves up.
Exactly. That's the point, that we discovered it. We're exposing it.
Yeah.
So this is coming over from Rio. Let's take a look at this. All right. And this is what blows me away, is how they did all this. Maybe it's corner to corner? Let's take a look. All right.
Yeah, this is what I think it is. This is going to be nuts.
No way. Is this a corner to corner alignment? Let's take a look. Let's do this.
In fact, it's just shy of 333 degrees, too. I mean, I'm sure that's definitely not any accident.
Oh, yeah. Holy moles. Look at this. Let's try the 3D view. 3D view is not always accurate, so I don't use it a lot.
Well, Casey, maybe line it up to the shadow off the back.
Oh, yeah.
See what that does to the tip of the shadow.
Yeah, it's a little off. But wow. Let's rotate this around. There we go. Yeah, I don't think we really have an alignment here. But yeah, the 333 degrees is very, very close, and that's probably not an accident, you guys.
Try, since you're there, try the Capitol building. See if it correlates to the womb symbolism instead.
Okay. Let me do this justice first.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. That's what we're looking to do there. We're gonna get a nice. Okay. So is the shaft, right, in the birthing end. So we have here's the shaft, and now we have the vagina. Wait a minute. What's the distance in days between the Fill the Mall and the opening ceremony? What are the dates on that?
The mall event was what, July 16th?
That kind of almost does line up with the shadow anyway.
Well,
yeah, it's July.
Casey, look at the shadow. Look how it's broken, right? So it's a broken shaft, right?
Yeah. Look at that.
Notice it?
The shadow lines up. That's crazy. Yeah, look at that. The shadow lines up. That's nuts. All the way from Rio de Janeiro. Okay, let's type in these dates here.
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I'm about to find out here in a second.
Because maybe it's like 44 days or something. I don't know. 32 days.
Now let's see. July 16th. So August 7th, right? Yesterday was the 7th?
Yeah.
22 days.
22. All right. This is wild. Okay, what's the other building you wanted me to check out?
The Capitol building. See if it correlates better with the symbolism of the womb versus the symbolism of the phallus.
So we did have an alignment with the shadow, so good call on that. Okay, just for people that don't know, that's supposed to be a random shadow because obviously the shadow moves as the sun moves around the sky. And for some reason, the shadow that we're given as a default image for Google Earth is lining up and pointing back to Rio. More occult stuff going on. Okay, we're looking at this. Is this what? Did I get this right?
The Capitol building, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really see any alignments here on this per se. There's the owl. There's Molech.
Yeah.
I'm not really seeing any alignments here.
Okay, it may have been more lined up with the phallus versus the womb.
Yeah, that definitely means something.
But then you look at the Rio opening ceremony, right, and how it has the woman's reproductive parts, and that it lines up with the male phallus in DC. It could be connected.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right, something to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. Fill them all with demons, Pokemon demons. Pokemon's motto is catch 'em all, and they were playing Pokemon while they were filling them all. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is nuts, and once you start talking about the birthing, I'm like, there's no way this cannot be correlated.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be. I mean, you look at the ceremony, and there's the birthing event, and it lines straight up with the phallus in DC. I mean, come on.
Yeah, first was the conception, then was the actual birthing, and I'm curious as to what's going to come next. I'd almost be scared if I didn't know how the end was going to play out.
Yeah, but we know that God's already victorious.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of minds working together to kind of piece all this together. I mean, it's so in depth and so information heavy.
It's nuts, and this is why I love your channel, Casey, because you do on the physical end what I at least believe I'm doing on the spiritual end, and the fact that it pieces together like this is just incredible.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, this is Casey's got one of the best decode channels out there.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Period. You know,
it's all because of you guys, though, man. You guys, we play off of each other, you know.
Well, I watch a lot of good channels, Casey, but your work is top notch, dude. And a lot of other people, their stuff is good, but it's not
as thorough.
It's not as thorough. Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Right on. Well, that was a great hangout, man. Appreciate you guys coming in here. And you guys have any final thoughts before we pop off of here?
No, I'm good. This has just been a nice wild ride for me. So.
Right on. All right.
Yeah, thanks for having these open mic shows, Casey. It's a really good idea. Oh,
yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're going to do it again probably next Sunday, so if everyone wants to maybe pop in here on next Sunday, that would be great. Probably in the morning. Mornings work better for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I appreciate you guys. I love each and every one of you, and take care and be safe, you guys.
Take care, guys.
Yep. Take care. Yep. Bye.
God bless everyone.